This is awesome. You're gonna love this video. Oh, this is so killer. Look how killer this is. My goodness. All right. You need scale to properly appreciate things. And I have a 12-inch foot. Exactly. That's 12 inches, folks. Ready? Oh. 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 Are you kidding me? Oh, no way. Yeah. Way. So this is Umbellularia californica, people. This is the California bay tree, not to be confused with the Mediterranean bay tree. This one's native right here, and it's actually more pungent than the Mediterranean bay. You don't even need to use as much material because it's so pungent in your cooking. There's so much to say. This might be a really long video. So it's not just, look at this tree. This tree's got to be 10 feet in diameter. Oh, it's insane. So there's gonna be some background noise. I'm at a client's house, a very fortuitous client that lives up in Sonoma on this massive property. There's a lake over there and over there. But probably the coolest thing on this property that everyone's ignoring is this grove of bay trees that I'm just spellbound with. Okay, let's start the whole presentation here. California bay tree. It's native throughout the entire state of California. It will grow in the coast ranges. It grows in the interior ranges. It grows in the mountains. It grows anywhere from 0 elevation to 5,000 feet. You'll see it growing in the lower parts of Yosemite along some of the creeks. You'll see it growing all the way into the mountains that are just east of San Diego, just north of the border. It almost makes it to Mexico, but not quite. It grows along streams. It grows anywhere there's water courses. And in this case, it grows on top of a ridge top where there's nowhere near any water sources. It's literally the highest point. It's remarkable that this tree got so big at this spot. We're on top of a massive ridge. You can't tell because it's foggy, but to give you perspective, that's the parking lot for the construction project. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool project. But anyway, this is right on top of this hill. This is the highest point, and it's growing amongst all these Sonoma fieldstones. I'm going to have another really cool video about Sonoma fieldstone real soon here, so look for that. But look at this thing, guys. It's there's even some, it does extend a little bit into Oregon. So it's not a pure California native because it does jump the border. And, but it is native to the California floristic province. It's an endemic, meaning it's the only place it's found. The California floristic province does not abide by government drawn boundaries. Rather, it's plant communities that define that zone. And that zone extends into northern Baja, and it also goes a little bit into Oregon. California redwood tree is in that zone. That's endemic to that zone, and there's some other things too. But anyway, this tree will exist anywhere. You'll find coastal live oak. And speaking of the devil, here's one right here. This is also an equally fabulous tree. It's seen some wars over its time. The main trunk here, obviously, got whacked probably in a big storm, but it is subsisting and creating some incredible character with what's left of its glorious life. And it extends all the way over into here. It looks like it has some progeny. These are little babies. These are all babies, certainly from this very same tree. And then here's Mama Bear right here, and she's still kicking. There's another baby right there. So she will certainly leave her mark with a forest in her absence when she finally does go. But until then, she's going to live fabulously right here. So they do grow with the oaks. And then it grew, this tree is probably at least 250 years old. Could be older. Trees that grow on ridge tops with boulders, they typically dwarf. And they could be very much older than you would presume based on the size of the tree because the growing conditions were so austere. So these trees have lived together here for at least a couple hundred years. And that puts them in the range of Native Americans who would have come and potentially taken the acorns and turned them into the meal that they so highly prized. Now, the bay tree, there were many more uses actually for the bay tree than the oak tree, believe it or not. The seeds could be ground into the same kind of paste that they would do with the acorns, and they could eat it that way. They would roast the inner seed of the bay tree seed, and they could even make a drink that tastes a little bit like burnt chocolate or burnt popcorn is what I've heard. And people still do it today. There's some people that go out and they adopted the Native American diet, and they are doing the very same thing. And like I said, it's a construction site, people. We're gonna hear some background noise. I apologize for that. But keep on rolling. So also, the interesting thing, the bay tree, it's the only member of the genus, the Umbellularia genus. There's only one, and it's the California bay tree. Did I mention there's not just one here? I need to, can I set this up? Oh, I'm not, all right, I'm just gonna walk up this. This is the kind of tree that you just need to walk up into. And there's one big step here that's going to be a little bit challenging. Definitely challenging. You know, oh, there I go. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't do it, you know. I've already had some stupid injuries from doing stuff like this. But can you imagine just laying up here? Like, something else like to lay up here too. That looks like a coyote, maybe. Anyway, so back to the point. Here we go with the storyline. You got one big bay tree, huge, almost as big, right there. And then look at this. Just like redwoods, when one bay tree dies, the main tree, it sends up sprouts. And even after a fire, it will send up sprouts. Potentially, this could be the same organism as this one. This could be all connected one root system, could be one plant. Almost like aspens are like that. But look, you can wander through the whole complex here. So this tree here could be several thousand years old, meaning there was one big tree in the middle. It eventually fell over, and then the same root system just sprouted up again, and doing it all over again. And there it goes off into the fog. And look at the most marvelous green moss on this. It's thick, super soft. It's like a carpet. It's amazing. There it is here. I'm gonna run out of batteries soon. It's all over the rocks. So this tree is actually very similar. See if I can find a leaf. Very similar structured and very closely related to the avocado tree. See, it has the same kind of leaf. Looks just like an avocado leaf. And actually, it makes a fruit which is extremely similarly structured to the avocado tree. Here's a little seedling right there, living under mama bear. And you can actually eat the fruit, and it does taste a bit like avocado. It tastes like a little bit sour, it's a lot smaller, but it tastes a lot like an avocado tree. And this is just unreal, you guys. Look at this. This is so crazy. Okay, so yeah, so it's like an avocado tree. Look, it's like an avocado tree. It's in the same family, Lauraceae, as the avocado tree. So, and the Indians, the Native Americans, they would eat it just like an avocado. And then the pit on the inside, they would roast that thing up and eat it. Let's stand back to give you guys some scale. What else? It's a wonderful tree for furniture. It's a hardwood tree. Okay, and guitars are made from it. Here's an interesting tidbit. So in North Bend, they had a currency crisis where they couldn't get any currency to the bank for some reason. I don't know why, but this is the only tree that was ever minted official money. They like made coins out of this hardwood because it was so durable. And they gave it to all the workers in this town as legal tender until they could get more cash in the bank. I think it had something to do with the Great Depression or something. But they basically said, bring it back and we'll give you cash once we get the cash. And it's legal tender. And so, but here's the funny thing. People thought the coins were so cool that they had trouble of people like bringing them back. So then they had to extend the deal and make it in perpetuity. You could bring the coins back and turn them into cash. But people didn't do that. They kept holding on to them. And now the coins are collector's items and they're worth way more than their face value ever was. So there you go. That's another, it's the only tree that's ever been turned into currency, just like a gold coin would be. But anyway, I do have to get on the road. I'm sure there's more to say about this tree. I'm sure there's things I've missed, but it's a wonderful tree. It can either be a little hedge, small little hedge, or it could be a ginormous, multi-trunk, beautiful, crazy thing. This tree will grow just about anywhere in California. So if you want something cool, consider Umbellularia californica, the California bayleaf tree. It's even a good screen. See, look at that. If it gets too big, you can cut it to the ground. Guess what it does? Right, it just sprouts up again. So this tree here, this has got to be, this whole system could be one giant tree that's like 10,000 years old. One tree in the middle, and then the trees grew up, and then they made a fairy ring just like they do with redwoods. And then those trees grew up, they died, and they made a further fairy ring, because it kind of looks like that here. You got one huge conglomeration here, and the big one in the middle. Check this out. I'll show you one last thing on the back of this tree that I failed to show you. But this is just definitely the biggest trunk. This might be the biggest trunk bay I've ever seen. Right here. You have to look into the California big trees. They said they get 100 feet tall. This tree here is about 50, 60 feet, but it's on a ridge. That means it's going to be fighting the winds. It doesn't want to get tall. Look, see all the sprouts? See the sprouts coming up? All these sprouts? That's in response to something that happened semi-recently where the whole back of the tree blew out. Look at this. This whole limb fell off of here. This was the original tree, guys. You could live in here. It's like a cave. And so this tree was much larger on this side. That's what these things do, and that's just the way it is. All right, I gotta get going. I got things to do, people to see, places to go. This job's gonna be incredible when we're done with it. We're gonna put a bunch of Chilean wine palms here. But look, there's the remnants of this huge section here that fell out. It's got its own beautiful art to it now. And it fell out just like its buddy next door. It fell out, and it's like sometimes we all get old together and things happen, and it's good to have friends. You know what I mean? All right, that's all I could think about saying. But I'm sure I'll think about more after I leave. California Bay.